Hey everybody, Jam Creates here, and I am doing, if you can tell from the sound in the background, a car video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I had something I was just thinking about, and I figured I would share it with you guys, as I am wont to do. Don't worry, we'll be getting back to more comic book reviews and such later in the week, but don't worry. But yeah, I just wanted to, something occurred to me, and it was funny because I saw someone talking about that new Men in Black movie, Men in Black International, and how it's bombing, and how a lot of these movies that are coming out right now are really doing, like, they're stinking up the box office. And it's funny because for Father's Day, I thought about, like, maybe we would go to the movies or something, but there was literally nothing I wanted to see as a family. I would have gone to see John Wick 3 with my wife because she wants to see it, but I can't bring my daughter to go see that. And I would have gone to see Godzilla, but I would have been there alone because neither my daughter or my wife would like to go see that. So there you have it. And sadly, Godzilla's not doing great at the box office either, quite frankly. I mean, you got to be truthful. But the thing that I was thinking about was particularly what caught my attention was with this whole Men in Black International thing is the storyline is essentially the character, and I don't know the actress's name. Again, that's the level of research that you've come to expect from my channel. You may hear my windshield wipers from time to time here. It is raining. But apparently the idea is that she finds the Men in Black and then basically just demands a job. Now, theoretically, that could work as a good plot to start to get your character in there, to kind of show, like, hey, this is a character who is competent. This is a character who can find these unfindable people, these people who, won't let you remember that they exist and everything. So it could have been good, but unfortunately, from my understanding, now again, I'm going off what I've heard and not what I've seen, but what I have seen is a lot of other stories, whether it be in comic book form, movies, television shows, whatever, that seem to take this same stance of the character walks in, demands powers or demands something, and then just is given it and is then praised every step of the way for it. Whatever happened, and this is what got me thinking, whatever happened to making your heroes earn their successes? Whatever happened to making your heroes suffer? A hero who never suffers is not a hero. I think that's fair to say. I mean, I think if you were, like, for example, let's say you played a sport, and let's say you play a solo sport, so that's the easiest way to do it. You play tennis, or you're a boxer, or an MMA fighter, or, a golfer, anything that's, a solo sport. And then let's say that you're a professional in that sport, but everyone just lets you win all the time. And then, you're a champion because everyone just lets you win, so you win the championship. Are you really a champion? If everyone just lays down and lets you win, are you a champion? No, you're not. I don't think you are, and I think most people would look at it and go, no, they didn't earn it. They didn't win. Everybody laid down for them. It was rigged. It was a fix. And that's the thing. When you're writing a story, essentially the fix is in right from the beginning because you're writing the story. Clearly, the entire thing is fake. The entire thing is contrived by a writer. So from the get-go, you're kind of operating from behind in a way when you're telling a story. You introduce your hero and everyone knows it's your hero of your story, and then they're kind of just expecting the hero to win. So if you want to make them like your hero, you've got to really challenge the hero to the point where the reader starts to actually wonder, wow, maybe the hero actually won't win this one. Or when, even if they never question whether or not they'll win, which it's fair, it's fine to have fiction where they know the hero is going to win. At the very least, make them look at it and respect the hero for what they went through and how they earned their victory. And that is just something you just don't see anymore. It's very much like, here I am, I'm the hero, you have to love me, and everyone just instantly does. Everyone is just instantly, yeah, all right, you're awesome, you rock. Like, no. What happened to the days of, the Kung Fu master making the student wait outside his, the Shaolin temple for months in the freezing cold, in the rain, everything else, and the student has to just sit there and wait until finally the teacher realizes that accepts that the student is serious about training and brings him in to train him. And even then, when he brings him in to train to train the guy, then he whips his ass. He doesn't take it easy on him. He doesn't just say, hey, you're super cool, like, so here you go. You're now a Shaolin monk. No! Like, he doesn't just say, here's a haircut and a robe, go get it, brother. And like, no! He then, like, makes him kick a tree for 4 days straight and, carry buckets of water up and down a mountain and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Stand on one foot in the middle of a lake, Just all these, like, ridiculous things that are meant to show you the hero is growing, that the hero is earning his stripes. And you just don't see that anymore. And that's where I think, like, the thing with Men in Black International is, number one, I had no interest in seeing that movie from the get-go, to be honest with you. And it's funny because I really enjoyed the first Men in Black movie. I never bothered with the other two. Or did I see that? I don't even remember if I saw the second one, to be honest. But then I loved the Men in Black cartoon. I loved that cartoon. That cartoon was great. It was so well done. But anyway, that's beside. I'm getting aside from my point here. My point is, you could have had, because the lore of the Men in Black is already established, nobody knows who they are, they erase people's memories, the whole 9 yards. If someone did find them, they had some sort of inciting incident in their past, maybe as a child, their sibling or their mother or father or someone had an encounter with an alien that they saw, and then they didn't have their mind wiped, but they were a baby or they were, a really young child, so no one ever believed them. So maybe they spent their whole life searching to track down the Men in Black so that they could find out the truth about what happened and blah, blah, blah. And then they get there and they're like, wow, this person really did a job. They found out, they found us. I mean, heck, you could even, because of the world of Men in Black, you could literally have a person do that, find the Men in Black, and then when they get there and they're like, I found you guys because of blah, 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 they could just say, okay, that's nice, look at this thing, boom, and then erase their memory of finding them, so that they have to find them all over again. They're back to square one and they need to find them all over again. And then maybe they do. They find them a second time. And at that point, maybe the Men in Black say, you know what, there's something to this. Maybe we need to take this person on. But they need to take them on and train them. They need to be trained. They need to be a rookie, learning from the older agents, the agents who've been there longer, the ones who've been there, done that. In the first movie, they chose Jay because he was a cop, he was a good person, and they felt like they could use, like he was basically recruited in, and then they stuck him. Stuck him is, makes it sound like it's a bad thing, but they put him with a partner who was an older, grizzled veteran who could teach him everything he needed to know, who would be unflappable in the most insane of situations. And then Jay would still be like able to, freak out at the idea, because there's still going to be things that just freak you out. Even if you know aliens exist, there's still going to be things that freak you out. And that's what this character should be doing. Their first step of earning their stripes should be, they found the Men in Black, and it could be like, wow, okay, that's an impressive person. Then they have to train, and then you start your story, and of course you're going to probably tie it into whatever happened to them as a child, some sort of malevolent alien, that you tie it into whatever happened to their family when they were a kid, and all that, and that's how you do it. And I mean, that's just like off the top of my head. That's that difficult to do, and I don't understand why no one seems to want to put their heroes through the ringer anymore. It's so bizarre to me. And then, in a more comic book note, who's been through the ringer more than Spider-Man in his career? Let's be honest. From the time he first put on that suit, he goes through it. Writers have put him through it over and over and over again for decades. And new heroes now? Nah, they don't do that with them. They're just kind of like, hey girl, everybody loves you. Like, I remember, oh gosh, I forget who it was. If it was Larry, I don't think it was Larry Hama. It might have been Larry Hama. Or it might have been someone else. I don't recall exactly. It might have been, I don't know. I'm not going to keep throwing out names because it could have been anybody. But I remember somebody talking about writing Wolverine. And I remember them saying all they ever thought about was, what are the worst things we can do to this character to really put him through the ringer, so that when he comes out the other side, the audience is like, holy crud, this guy has been through it, you know? Like, that's what you want. You want your heroes to have scars. You want them to go through things, you know? You want them to grow as characters. If you start at the top, you'll never grow. There is nowhere to go from there. The only way to go from there is down. And that's why so many of these comics that come out immediately fail after like 4, 5, 6 issues. Because the hero has no growth potential. They have no potential to grow. And I'm not talking about grow sales. I'm talking about grow as a character. When you put out a book where the main hero is instantly loved by everyone and has no trouble defeating the bad guys and isn't doing anything heroic, what's the point? Why would I want to read that? Whether I'm an adult, a kid, or anywhere in between, what fun is that? There's no fun in that. The fun is watching the good guys triumph over the bad guys when it looks like the bad guys have their backs up against the wall. That's what makes it cool. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it entertaining. And I feel like people have just seemed to have forgotten that. And it may be this too, you know, a lot of these stories, and it's just, I don't think it's a coincidence. A lot of these stories with this terrible storytelling and no character growth really do seem to center around female characters. And that's even worse, because you're supposedly trying to bolster, you know, female readers by having female heroes. Well, again, they're not a hero if they just start out and everyone loves them and everything's perfect and everything's great and they always win with one punch and that's it. And then, yay, let's go have pizza. Like, that's not a comic book. That's not a character. That's literally interchangeable. You could take any one of these characters and just plop them into anyone else's book and it's all exactly the same. You need these characters to grow. They need to grow and mature, and they need to go through things in order to grow. You know, if you're just telling a silly, like, children's, although honestly, no, what I was going to say, forget that, strike that, because even if you're telling a silly little children's tale, the characters still need to grow. They still need to go through things and learn and grow. Now, you're going to do things in different ways. If you're writing a TV show or something, or a book for toddlers, it's going to be different. You know, it's going to be Peter Rabbit learning not to go in Farmer Brown's yard or McGregor's yard, whatever his name is. And why, you know, it's Brer Rabbit learning, hey, maybe I should not travel too far out, and I should, you know, like my home sweet home in the Briar Patch because I'm safe here. But he had to be threatened and had his life put in danger by Brer Bear and Brer Fox to learn that lesson. You know, any simple kid story, and it doesn't even have to involve, you know, life or death situations. It could simply be, you know, just learning any type of lesson They need to make mistakes. They need to be afraid of things. They need to learn things. That's how it works. That's how people learn. You know, people have fear. Fear is a very important thing for people. Now, fear can paralyze you from doing certain things that, you know, you would hope it wouldn't. But fear also it's something that's in you for a reason. You need to be afraid. Our ancestors needed to be afraid, because if they weren't, they would just run headlong into a predator trying to, like, kill it with the rock or their bare hands or something, and they would have been torn to shreds. They would have no caution about what they were doing, and they would all die, and then we wouldn't be here. So fear is important in that regard, and even your fictional characters need to have a sense of fear about things and not treat everything as a joke. You know, it's one thing if if you have a character who maybe uses humor to compensate for fear, that's one thing. That's fine. I always kind of felt like Peter Parker, when he had his quips and was, you know, tossing out his one-liners and cracking insults at bad guys, part of that was just a way of, like, keeping himself from being scared you-know-whatless, being scared webless, when he was fighting someone like the Rhino, who was this giant monster of a person who seemingly could, like, destroy him. You know, he's making jokes and stuff because, number one, it's keeping his foes off balance. It is a strategy. But number two, it's also keeping him grounded. You know, it's keeping him from losing his losing his head and making a mistake and panicking. So anyway, really, my main thesis here is simply put your characters through hell. If you're writing, put your characters through it. And it doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world. If you're writing a teenage drama, that's fine. I'm not trying to say you need to have someone break into the school with a machete and, like, hack up half the school and then be chasing your hero down. If you're making a horror story, okay, fine, maybe you'll do that. But if you're just writing a story, let's say about teenage drama and, you know, who's going to go to the dance and all this kind of stuff and whatever, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for that in the world. My daughter loves that kind of fiction. She loves a more realistic, grounded style of fiction. But guess what? People still grow. People still make mistakes. People still fear things. People still have failures and then grow in those stories. You have to do that, or it's just going to be boring. And honestly, the worst thing when it all comes back to comic books, which is really the focus of this channel, that is the worst thing you could be, is boring. Just don't be boring. Just don't be boring. Be entertaining. I don't care if your entertainment is not written for me, a 40-something-year-old guy from New York. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. But whoever you're writing for, entertain them at least, please. Because otherwise, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're not trying to entertain people, what the hell are you doing making comic books? Don't be boring. It's as simple as that. Put your heroes through some stuff. Make them earn their adulation. Make them earn their heroic status. It's not just given to anyone. All right, so anyway, that's my story for today. That's my video for today, driving home. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help. It helps, get it in front of other people, helps make it suggested. Subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you here. And comment below. Comment, because I answer all the comments. Even if it's, just to say thank you, I read every single comment, and I answer every single comment. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at jam_creates. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, of course. And share with your friends. If you like this channel, share. I'm trying to grow this channel. And if you do enjoy what I'm doing here, the only way I'm going to be able to do more is if the channel grows. I work a full-time job. I have a family. The only way I can justify doing more is if the channel grows. And if I can maybe, if I can continue to grow, I can continue to do this and eventually dedicate more and more time to make the channel better, make it grow more, make it better, and it'll grow more, and so on and so forth. So please share it with your friends. Let your friends know. If your friends like comic book YouTube or whatever, let them know I'm here, okay? And that's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.